On today's episode, we are taking a look at Rugby Alberta, especially the Alberta Cup and the Alberta Women's Premier, the top level of senior club rugby in the province. We'll cover how the league currently works, who's in it, what changes we might see for the 2026 season. But before we kick it into gear, make sure you hit the follow button to keep right up to date with all the action. Welcome back to Pitchside with myself, Sean Ryan Radio, the podcast focused on grassroots rugby across Canada. And today we are diving into Alberta, the Alberta Cup and the Alberta Women's Premier. Now, what is the Alberta Cup and the Alberta Women's Premier, and why does it matter? The Alberta Cup and the Alberta Women's Premier, also I'm going to refer to them as AC and AWP, are regarded as the top level of rugby in the province. There are two unions that filter up into the AC and the AWP, with Edmonton and Calgary rugby unions, also known as the ERU and the SARU. Now, it's the highest standard of club rugby in Alberta. It's the top teams always battling each other. It's always exciting stuff. The rugby season itself typically lasts from late May to mid-September for the AC side of things, while the AWP is typically late May to mid-August. So a bit shorter, a bit more compact, but great rugby within May and August, May and September. Are there Canadian stars that have come out of Alberta? Of course there are. Matthew Owaru's one that comes to mind. I know you all know me for Owaru's on fire, but man, he's an absolute Albertan. He played a lot of his rugby in Zimbabwe, but he's an Albertan at heart, and a key figure in this current squad for Canada for the men's. Ben Lesage, iconic figure, played for the Calgary Canucks. He's an icon. I think he's the figurehead of Alberta rugby at this present moment. Brock Gallagher, another legend, who played his rugby in Northwestern. And in the female side of things, Emily Twatsi played for the Calgary Hornets, Sarah Klein, the Leprechaun Tigers, and Delika Menin for the Calgary Dinos. You know those women. They play at the highest level. They're playing World Cups. They're winning silver medals. So they're just on a different plane altogether. But they're just some of the talent that have come out of Alberta. It shows just how experienced these players are and how important they are to Canadian rugby. Now, the league structure and format. So we'll start with the AC, the Alberta Cup. Last year we had 8 teams in the league and they played a total of 12 games. But I have been informed that there's going to be a big shake-up this year with the structure. I would expect the league to be filled with 6 teams for this upcoming season, which would include Northwestern Athletic Association, the Calgary Canucks RC, the Calgary Hornets RFC, Edmonton Clansmen RFC, the Leprechaun Tigers RFC, and the Calgary Saracens RFC. So these big change up for the league is due to the amount of travel they had last year. They had 5 in the ERU and 3 in the SARU, which made it a lot of travel between Calgary and Edmonton. And if you're not aware of how far these cities are to each other, they're approximately about 3 hours. So there's a lot of traveling. You're doing a lot of day trips, and that's going to affect the outcome. So they're shortening it down. It's going to be a balance of 3 for the ERU and 3 for the SARU. So it'll be a nice balance there for this season. So we're going to see 10 matches throughout the year, which is going to have them playing each other twice for the 6 teams. So there's going to be 3 long distance games for each team. A lot shorter than what it was last year, where everybody had to play each other nearly twice. In the AWP, just like last season, we're most likely going to see 8 teams, 4 from the ERU, 4 from the SARU. I predict it's going to be quite similar in terms of the schedule. 10 games, you play your 6 games within the sub-union and 4 games for the crossover with a mix of home and away. We should see the following teams in this league, which is the Calgary Rams, the Edmonton Leprechaun Tigers RFC, the Calgary Canadian Irish, Northwestern Athletic Association, St. Albert, Strathcona Druids, my apologies, Calgary Canucks, and the Calgary Hornets. And then in the terms of the point system for both, it's similar to all major competitions. 4 points for a win, 0 points for a draw, 0 points for a loss, my apologies. 2 for a draw. A bonus point for scoring 4 tries, and a bonus losing point if losing less than 7, or less than or 7, or 1 score. So similar across the board. But very interesting stuff. Now, when we look at the outlook, who are we looking at? Who are the teams to be looking at? We'll start with the AC. These are the teams to be looking out for. Northwestern is the top dog coming into this season. Champions last year with impressive 11 wins out of the 12 games. Number 1 in points scored, number 1 in points conceded, so they conceded the least amount of points. They'll be certainly looking to do the W, or the double, not the W, well, get a lot of W's, but do the double this year and take home the cup. The Calgary Canucks finished second, and it's definitely a team to be looking out for. They were in the final against Northwestern, and unfortunately lost that game. Their season went 10 wins out of the 12 games, so pretty impressive. Second in points scored and in points conceded. And they're going to be looking for revenge against Northwestern because they were the only team they battled against this season, or last season, that they lost against. So if they can figure out Northwestern, they're certainly on track to taking home the Alberta Cup. Now, the third team to be looking out for in this league, and this is potentially just in the opening rounds, as I said, for previous episodes, just to look at these teams, these are going to be ones to be looking out for. They could absolutely flop. We just don't know, but these are the ones I think you should look at, and the rest of the teams are well capable of causing some chaos, so don't misquote me on that. But the Calgary Hornets finished third last season, and I think they're a team to be looking at. They'll be putting a lot of pressure on the top sides. They won the league back in 2023, and they'll be eager to have it back. They have a few hurdles to cross, and it's going to be a close race, and they're going to certainly shake things up this season. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the Calgary Hornets do in the AC. Now, let's look at the AWP. What are the sides to be looking at? Starting off, Calgary Rams is the first one you got to look at. Last year's winners had an unbeaten run, and they'll be certainly the team to be looking out for when the season kicks off in late May. Edmonton Leprechauns, they will be looking to get the title back. They had won the AWP back in 2024, and they finished second this year, so they are very hungry to take back the trophy to Edmonton. And the third team I'm looking at, and I was very kind of unsure who to pick, but St. Albert. They didn't finish third last year, but their stats were very impressive. They finished second in points scored, so well able to attack. They had the second most tries, bonus points, so they kept getting 4 tries in most of their games. And they were very much got the most losing bonus points as well. So most of the games they did lose were less than 7 points. So they have they have the ability to certainly cause some chaos. If they just push themselves a small bit further, got the few wins, I definitely think they'd be a lot more competitive than what they were last season. But just from the stats that it's shown, I think they're going to be a team to look out for. I think if they can fix the defensive errors, if they can make sure they're at top after the 80 minutes, I think they will be an impressive side to be watching out for this season. Now, the possible changes for 2026, there's a few to mention, and we kind of mentioned a few of them already. So in the AC, as I said, we're going to see 6 teams, and the AWP, we're going to see 8 teams. This will be a lot less travel for clubs. With the upcoming structure, which means it's going to be a massive plus for financial for the players as well as passenger fatigue for the AC. I think there's a lot of travel, as I said, 3-hour journeys. It's a lot. It's a lot of traveling, and you can imagine if you were traveling to a game that was kicking off at 12 bells, you were leaving Edmonton to head to Calgary. And you're leaving at 9 o'clock, you're up earlier, like 8 o'clock, get your feet in, get your stuff, your bag, have everything, your gum shield, your boots, your scrum hat if you have it, your cap. Then go out to the game, get out there at 12 o'clock. You've been up since 8, whereas the Calgary boys are going to be, 30 minutes and whatnot. And vice versa is the same way. So, fatigue is going to be a big factor still in this league, but it's going to be less so than what it was last year. And then will we see any more changes is the other thing. Will we see anything else? I think they are the main ones in terms of the team structure and the changes in the facilities. But as we go on through the year, we always see different changes, different challenges appear with different structures. But as of right now, I think this new structure being in place is going to be a lot of fun. Now, in rugby news across Canada, we got so much news to get through. So if you are ready to hear some news, get ready, get your ears ready. Starting off with the news in Alberta, because we're talking a lot about Alberta, and I'm telling you, I have a lot of Alberta news. I got the inside scoop from Scataconia Druids. They will have a new VP of rugby for both their men's and their women's. So they're going to have two new VPs. Chuck Bonsant will be taking over for the men's, while current senior women's player Amber Robinson Grafton takes the VP for the women. Both VPs are working hard to grow the club culture back to what it can be and what it should be after COVID. I have all faith in Chuck and Amber that they are the best individuals to get this job done and raise the culture for the Druids. So I wish them the best of luck. Now, in kind of merger news, it's not so much news, but for me it's news. So if you're from Alberta, you might have already known of this. This is news to me. Calgary Rams and the Bow Valley Grizzlies are teaming up again this year in the women's for the third time. Now, the way this works is the Rams have too many players for one team, but not enough for two squads in the AWP and the Division 2, while Bow Valley Grizz are struggling to keep numbers to field one women's team. So both clubs combined are keeping the opportunities available for players for the women's to play at the top levels, be able to play in both competitions. So far, it's been a partnership that has had major success, growing both women's programs for Bow Valley and the Calgary Rams. And we saw last year that the Calgary Rams won the league. The goal for this merger kind of thing is basically for both clubs to be able to support themselves fully independent programs again. So both having a lot of women for Bow Valley, a lot of women for the Calgary Rams, and that's the aim of this program, which is a great incentive because you're getting players still to be able to play their games without folding and all that sort of jazz. The teams are officially registered as the Rams in the AWP and the Division 2, and their internal nickname is the Riz, combining Rams and Grizz together. So quite a bit of fun there, but interesting news. But they're doing it for a third year, so I had to say it was kind of news. But if you're from Alberta, you probably already knew that. But for anybody else, I think it's news for them. Now, in terms of player news, Alberta's Miles Ross has joined the Ottawa GGs for their upcoming season. Now, if you don't know Miles, in 2027, he started playing rugby, played for the Calgary Rams. In 2024, he played in the sub-union team, the Calgary Mavericks. And in 2025, he has played for the Alberta Wolfpack. So he's raised the bar for himself. In terms of position, he's comfortable in several of the backline positions. He's in, out centre, winger, and fullback. Fullback is his kind of main bread and butter, as he likes to describe rugby. His goal was always to play university level, and he will achieve that goal in September with the GGs. He's definitely going to get a lot of experience with the GGs. They play the best of the best in the RSEQ. You've heard me say billion times, I think, at this stage, that I think the RSEQ, in terms of the university level, is probably the strongest. That's what I think it is. It's probably the strongest. So I'm looking forward to seeing him play. I'm looking forward to seeing highlights and whatnot. And yeah, I wish him the best of luck, but I think the GGs are super excited to have him on board. Now, in coaching news, Matt Herod taking charge for the senior men's at St. Albert. Now, Matt has been an important figure for the club in playing and coaching spheres. He's played a part of the club since 2009, representing the men's team and playing all divisions throughout it. And coached the U7s, U11s, U16, U19s, and the second division's men's team, as well as the high school rugby. So he's been climbing the ranks. He's been rising, and raised the bar to this level. So he's getting his shot in the spotlight. And I think the team is quite delighted to have him on board. He's a figure in in that team, in that club, and I think he's going to raise the bar a lot higher for this club. And I'm excited to see what he does. I'm excited to see what he does, and I will be keeping a close eye on them. Now, in other coaching news, because we got plenty of coaching news. As I said, we are getting all the coaching news at the moment. Last week we didn't have the coaching news. This week we have the coaching news. Grant Parry has given the inside scoop and told me that James Hedges is staying with the GP. After an impressive repeat of the Joe Raybould Cup champions, they'll be looking to James to bring the club to the next level and showcase what GP is all about. They're looking for sponsors for this upcoming season to bring their club closer to the AWP. And if you want to help them, check out their Instagram or check them out on Google or the interwebs or whatever you want to call it, to help their program out, help the Priory. A lot of their players are outside of where the club is situated at the moment, so a lot of those players have to travel in. It's a bit of a distance and stuff like that, so they are looking for sponsors. If you do want to help out and help out at Grassroots Rugby and be a part of the mission, do check out Grand Prairie on Instagram. They're a thriving club, they're on the rise, and yeah, to look out for them. Now, in BC news, and I haven't had a lot of BC news on the program, but I know a lot of stuff is happening. But this one popped up on my Instagram, and I was like, I gotta say it. Most of the stuff for my research pop up on my Instagram. It's normally posts and stuff like that. So if you want to help me get the news out to everybody of teams winning cups, new coaches, new players, you're going to a different club, whatever it might be, news that you think, oh, people need to know this is brand new, it's exciting. Do tag me, do share it to me. Do show it to me, because I'll only see as much as I can. I can be on Instagram all day, but I still might miss the important stuff. So do tag me or whatnot. But in BC news, big congratulations to West Shore taking home the Bernard Cup, defeating James Bay 59-14. So a massive win for West Shore. I believe I have a jersey of theirs somewhere, or I have it on the way. It's one of the two. But they're a super cool club. But yeah, big win for them. Congratulations. And James Bay, look, I don't know. I don't know what to say, but unfortunately it just didn't go your way on the day. So, and I didn't mean for that to rhyme. Now, mark your calendars for the 17th of May. The first annual Back the Pack golf tournament is happening, and Rugby Alberta is launching a brand new Senior Women's Indoor Pathway Series. It's already kicked off, and this is the one that Rugby Canada is looking at. They have been watching it. With Women's World head coach Kevin Rouet helping push the initiative forward. Basically, the idea is simple: give Alberta athletes more high-level playing opportunities and get them directly in front of Rugby Canada selectors, getting picked for internationals, all that jazz. The program is planned to run for the next 3 years, and if it goes well, they'll be hoping to put the men's game in too. Now, winter rugby isn't cheap, unfortunately, so they're back in the program with their first ever Back the Pack golf tournament on May 17th at the Wolf Creek Golf Course. Golf, food, rugby people, and it all wraps up with Senior Men's Challenge match between the ERU and the SARU, which honestly sounds like a great day out. If you're in Alberta rugby circles, this is definitely one to be supporting, because it's all about bringing exposure to the players, both in the women and the men, potentially building a real pathways for international level, and getting the exposure that they truly deserve. I feel like a lot of provinces are always feeling we're not getting seen. We have a lot of talent, and this is a great opportunity for, especially in Alberta. But if we can see some of this happen across the country, even in the smaller provinces, it would be fantastic. So if we can start this right and continue success, then we might have an unbelievable team in the next couple of years with some absolutely amazing talent being found. Now, in international news, there's not much happening in terms of the international sphere from what I've seen. The only big news is that the Women's Six Nations is on the rise. It's on the rise. It's coming quite close. There's a couple of weeks left to go before we kick off. But England will be chasing their 8th straight title. And it's going to be, another benchmark tournament ahead of the women's global cycle for them. They have been unbelievable. You saw them in the World Cup. They were a different breed, especially from Canadian women's side of things. It's important to keep an eye out for them, because it's just the talent they have. But definitely, if you're into your international women's games, the Six Nations is on the horizon for you. So do have a look out for that. There are going to be some good games to be looking at. France and England are probably the favourites looking in on that initially. Now, if you enjoyed the show, make sure you follow, make sure you subscribe, whether it's on Spotify and YouTube. And you can also find me on Instagram at Sean Ryan or at Sean underscore Ryan underscore radio. Um, that gives you all the details. I share a lot of the posts and stuff like that. If there's news about new head coach opportunities, teams winning the cup and stuff like that. If you want to get it instant, do check out the Instagram. If you want it still to be kind of weekly, you get the news or whatever, do click to follow and subscribe. Keeps you up to date. If you want to be a part of the show, and as I said, this is our last show in the studio, so I gotta say goodbye to the studio, which I've had a lot of fun memories in here. Started my rugby career in here, doing this podcasting, or well, not podcasting, but social media stuff and being an influencer and a presence online for rugby in Canada. So it all started here. We're gonna have a new studio quite soon. Don't know how we're gonna set up and stuff. I still have to envision it once I get there. Because I'm moving apartment quite in the next couple of weeks. So this is the last episode here. There won't be an episode next week. But I will try to have a week after. If not, it's going to be 2 weeks out before we get kicked off. But we will be diving straight into the league, especially the Marshall, and we'll try to get a few interviews and stuff like that once I have everything set up. But I'm super excited about it. But yeah, it's I'm kind of getting a bit emotional now just talking about it that this will be the last episode. But honestly, I've had an absolute blast. I know you have a lot of memories with me doing the wall stuff and everything like that. So if you did enjoy all those content, and if you want to help me, be the best pundit that I can be, have the information, make this, help me in any shapes or form. If you want to help me, do check out my Ko-Fi. Every little bit helps. It's always yeah, I really appreciate when people do donate. It helps me in terms of, you know, just simply getting a coffee, giving myself the boost. And I'm hoping to do a small bit of fundraising for certain events. We're seeing talks about maybe we might go to a different province, but we'll see how we do there. Maybe Alberta. Who knows? Could go to Alberta. I know they eagerly want me there to check it out and stuff like that. And I want to see Alberta. Alberta has been fantastic. I know we're still on the closing part of this episode, but Alberta has been fantastic in terms of the social media team that they have there is fantastic. The presence online is very good. And just yeah, they've always been very supportive in terms of like getting me exposure and chatting to the right people and stuff like that. So I do really appreciate them being on board and being eager to help me on my journey to support rugby across Canada. So I do really appreciate them. In the next episode, I don't know what the next episode is going to be. As I said, more than likely we're going to be talking about the Marshall. I'm going to be trying to I have a few people lined up in terms of who I should talk to in the Marshall and possibly the union branches in Ontario. So your TRU, your Eastern Ontario Rugby Union, and your Niagara Rugby Union, and probably your Southwestern Rugby Union as well. So trying to get individuals involved in that so we get a bit more hype for the Ontario scene. But we will try and get other individuals throughout the season to talk about the rugby and stuff like that. I want to make this a bit of a conversational piece. I want people to get involved. I want people to have the chat. And I want to learn more about rugby, I can only see so much online from scorelines and, highlight reels. But once you get to chat to somebody, I always feel like we get a bit more information. We get a bit more understanding. And I really felt that with the interview with Cal Moeller a couple of weeks ago, that I got a better understanding of who he was. As much as I've chatted to him before about score lines and stats and who's winning this game, who's winning that, but to hear his story and where he's going, really exciting stuff. So if you haven't checked that episode out, do check it out. It was a lot of fun. Until then, I'm Sean Ryan Radio, as you might know me, and this has been Pitch Side.